So welcome everybody to the next episode of From Dungeons to Starships. And I'm following to our inaugural video of 2025, talking about our idea for the Grey Mountain campaign that we're trying to get people infused about here in 2025. Now, if you want to know the ins and outs of what we're trying to do, please go back and look at the video from last month, which will hopefully explain the idea of what we've got to try and turn some of that grey pile of plastic that we've all got languishing in cupboards and on shelves everywhere, and try and do a little bit of good with it in 2025. With the charities that we're looking at towards supporting, we've already highlighted in the first video that we are not going to define which charity you should be donating to, and it's pretty much completely up to you whether you are able to give, and then more importantly who you feel it's right to give to, because everybody all has their own conception about the charities that they would like to support and those charities' ongoing work. But a few people have asked me about ideas for the charities that maybe we will go down the road of supporting here in 2025. Now, this has to come from you guys in the community. If you know of any group, charity, any foundation that does any kind of social work within the community, etc., who might use modelling and might use the whole genre of, I don't know, wargaming and stuff like that to bring people together, to help people out, to give everybody a social relief burden off their shoulders, etc., then obviously those are the charities that we feel more akin to here on this channel and would like to know about their work for sure, and then maybe bring that to you guys. The first one, however, is going to be a charity I've known about for quite a while, and rather than me sort of like wax lyrical about them, we thought we'd reach out to the guys and hopefully get one of their representatives on to come and talk about the work that they do. So this is going to be the bulk of video going forwards. So I'm going to hand over to past, present, future. I don't know how it quite works out in the whole rigmarole of the timeline of this video, but hopefully we'll get an idea of what the work that these guys do. So one of the first charity, or one of the first groups that we're going to try and help here on this this Grey Mountain campaign is it's a charity I've known about for a few years, and it's a group called Models for Heroes. Now, this group is especially a good one to hopefully start off with, because they actually use the modelling community to help about and do the work that they do. But you don't want to listen to me talk about anything. Realistically, we want to go to our chief liaisons officer at the at Hobbies for Heroes. So we look at it enough to be in the company of Gary Morris this evening. So Gary, welcome to From Dungeons to Starships.
Thank you for having me, and it's great to be here. Chief Liaison Officer, I've been promoted.
I was trying to find a way to introduce you, Dan, and not just say that. So, like, you know, you just the person who drew the shortest strips.
I can assure you, I didn't draw the short straw. No, Malcolm said. Malcolm Charles is the CEO and the founder of Models for Heroes, and he said, "Would I like to do the interview?" Because he's, as you can imagine, quite a busy person, and his time is limited, and he has a young family. So I'm more than happy to tell you about what Models for Heroes does.
Yeah, I mean, you know, let's obviously start with a brief overview about, you know, what you do as a charity for those people who may not be aware of the work you do. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're in our 8th year now, would you believe? But we are a charitable organisation that is set up to provide a form of modelling hobby for servicemen, ex-servicemen, veterans, and members of the emergency services. You know, your ambulance, your police, your firemen, Coast Guard, and the likes. And what we do is we provide modelling kits and equipment and meetings where people can go as a group, whether that be online or face-to-face, and they can group together as a group of veterans, servicemen, be what they will, all with the same sort of sense of humour, which sometimes is a little bit strange from the normal run-of-the-mill, but they can all get together and model, and by the process of building or sticking bits of plastic together, they are taking their mind away from all their other worries that they might have. Some of our beneficiaries have PTSD, you know, have all sorts of things like that. And I think it was Winston Churchill that said originally that every man should at least have two meaningful hobbies. And I believe when he said man, he meant person. But should have two meaningful hobbies. Now, I started off with Models for Heroes as a beneficiary. I found out about the organisation through a YouTube modelling site, and I'd heard of Models for Heroes in the past. And I'm ex-serviceman. I'm an ex-Royal Air Force, 22 years, but I didn't class myself as a hero because I thought Models for Heroes, that's the thing for the guys who've been out to Afghan and have not come back in a very good state of affairs, shall we say. I had my eyes opened very quickly by Malcolm Childs, who said, no. It's not just those persons. It's all ex-servicemen, current servicemen, members of the emergency services. You know, a lot of people don't realise that that we cater for all members of the services, emergency or forces. Everything we do is through donations. So all the kits that we give out, when you become a beneficiary for Models for Heroes, you get a big box, and I mean a big box of model kits and equipment to get you going. I'm still working through mine. When I was a beneficiary, I'm now a volunteer. I'm not a beneficiary anymore, but and within that there are all the kits you need, all the tools you need, all the equipment that you need, and also we give you access then, or the beneficiary has, to face-to-face modelling sessions. For example, I'm in Telford. We've got two in Telford now. There are sessions that run in Southampton. There are sessions that run all over Derby. They're all over the UK. But one of the good things that came out of COVID was that we started to turn to online. So we actually have, every night of the week, there's a Zoom session where there is a modelling session online, and you can model with your mates, with your veterans, in the comfort of your own home. So that briefly is what we do.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, there is quite a lot to take aback for that. I mean, I first became aware of you guys is that you do tend to have at mainly the more historical modelling and gaming events up and down the country. There always seems to be a stand for Models for Heroes at modelling shows and stuff. That there always seems to be a stand of you guys there showing off, the stuff that your members have done, and to show to show them what the work you're doing. So that's always something that's it's always a scene as well. But being in some of this gaming community, don't actually quite realise, I don't think, within the gaming community how many ex-servicemen and how many of the people of your ilk are actually involved in a hobby like ours, with the history and all the rest of it that goes along with it. So there is quite a lot of people who could be, suffering from, these social anxieties and stuff like that,
Yes.
that you're describing, and to be someone on the outside of it who doesn't understand
Yes.
the stuff that's going through, to have a community like yours to fall back on, where it's all literally, like you say, it's getting back to being in the mess with the lads kind of thing.
Exactly.
And you're all there in together. So this was, like I said, one of the reasons why, when we were setting up this idea, that realistically your charity became, the one that came first to mind, because you are using the process of, what we as the gaming community tend to just take on blasé, but you're actually doing it, and it is actually having you just got, is it mental and physical benefits that you get? I mean, you see the guys that you're working with more regularly than anybody else does, so
I can honestly say from personal experience, okay, I left the Air Force. I'll give you the sub story. It's not a sub story, really. I left the Air Force in 2004 on my 40th birthday, and that was me done. I decided it was a young man's game. I still had a young family, blah, blah, blah. 2004, left the Air Force, came to work in Civvy Street. Massive culture shock, okay? But everything went smoothly till 2015 when I had a stroke.
Okay.
And then got over that, went back to work. 2017 came along, I had another stroke, and that finished me off work-wise. So there I was at, 54? Yeah, 54, couldn't work anymore. And I then regressed. I then regressed into myself. I then became very depressed. I wouldn't go outside the house. And it was during COVID that I found out about Models for Heroes. Now, like most people, I'd modelled, I played with plastic when I was a kid before I discovered beer and girls and things like that. And then I thought, well, it's something to do with my hands. I realised that, if I don't use it, I'll lose it. So I needed to get myself going again. So I referred myself to Models for Heroes and had a very nice conversation with Mr. Malcolm Childs. And 3 weeks later, a massive box of kits turned up. And then he said to me, well, why don't you come on the Zoom? And there'll be other servicemen there, blah, blah, blah. Come on the Zoom. And with great trepidation, I did. And I actually loved it from the second I got on there, because I was back in a service environment.
Yeah,
I was back where I was comfortable. And from that, this is where I say, without trying to sound silly or anything like that, this is where I just came to aware that Models for Heroes had actually saved my life. Because then I started meeting with other people. Then I started going out again. Now, I hadn't been outside the front door for 3 or 4 years. Well, I was going out again. I was going to Scale Model World at Telford, the big show. Which was massive for me because it's a lot of people. And then lo and behold, I become the volunteer coordinator for Models for Heroes. And then on top of that, I start running a face-to-face session here in Telford. So it has brought me back into where I am. What we are doing now, 5 years ago, couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. I just wouldn't have been able to bring myself to do it. But now, through this,
I mean, I'd never even imagined to think that the sort of like the stuff that you guys go through when you come down with these problems. I mean, I know everyone's got a couple of friends who are ex-servicemen, who tell you stories about and all the rest of it. I mean, to the guy, I mean, it's another way that I came to know about you is a couple of my friends actually use your charity, and you've got guys like Mel Bose, who's the terrain tutor. Everybody who's anybody who's into miniature wargaming knows the terrain tutor and knows Mel. So just to have him, so like if he can be a link to say, well, this guy that you sort of like nick all your terrain building tips from is actually a part of this community himself. We know Mel as an ex serviceman himself as well. So we do see sometimes, unfortunately, Mel when he's struggling now and again, but again, community tends to wrap around and come to the fore. So
I was in my service career, I was very, 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 very lucky. I never actually went anywhere dodgy. The furthest I went that was dodgy was Cyprus for 2 years and southern Italy for 4 months. And I had a very, very, I will admit it, I had a very easy service career. It was when I came out, things went wrong. I was trying to adjust into civil life. And so, that's why I go back to saying I didn't consider myself available for something like Models for Heroes, because I didn't class myself as a hero. I hadn't gone to Afghanistan, and I hadn't gone to Iraq, but that's not the way it works. So,
it just makes it so like so much more. I don't know if this is the right word, but so much more of an appealing charity to try and back, because so many people will. I mean, going back to like 10, 15 years ago, nobody had really heard of PTSD. Nobody had heard of any kind of the social anxieties that ex-servicemen and people do go through. But now, when you describe it and talk about it, there is a level of understanding out there in the wider community about the stuff that goes on. So again, like we said, if we could do something through this charitable little drive to try and help with your work, I mean, even if it's just a case of, well, let's talk about the sort of the ideas in terms of what I've got, and you could basically say yes or no. About which way would probably go, because I know you do get support from games companies like Warlord Games and stuff like that. Because I know some people who work for Warlord, and I often see that they do send you care packages now and again, bits and pieces to shell out between your members. So it's not like we're here to try and shame companies into supporting you, because we already believe those guys are. But so
I'm still surprised that some of the companies that support us, Airfix, Rubicon Models, Warlord Games, Edward, and even Warhammer World. We get some stuff from them sometimes. So.
I mean, because you're going to have guys who are coming to you from a wide range of age groups and a wide range of, that when they were first involved in doing any kind of modelling was, the old Spitfires and Messerschmitts for their for their kitchen, for their bedroom ceilings.
Yeah, exactly. And in fact, I can tell you one of my the session I run, the face-to-face session. One of my guys is ex-RAF and he's 92 years old, and he's still making models. So
I bet he's got a wealth of knowledge and knows all the tips
and tricks absolutely. As well,
doesn't he?
And we've got all ages. So
I mean, so like I say, so you're going to be coming from people who are that's more the way leading to younger guys and guys who are going to be into the more the Warhammer 40k and all the rest of it. So this is something that we can do that basically can span quite a wide variety of availability in terms of how we're going to donate and how we're going to try and link this up.
Right.
Now, my first idea, the first one of them, is that so like when you did your intro first, you talked about that basically that you guys run pretty much based solely on donations only.
Yes.
Now, having a look through your website, and I'm going to put all the links in, all the description for the video and everything like that, so everyone will be able to go and have a look at this, is that if, for example, I don't know, quite a few people would have this, they would have kits on the shelves that they've bought for themselves with the greatest idea that someday they're going to get around to building this kit for whatever reason, and it just stays there for years, getting slowly and slowly down in the pecking order until eventually, when you do blow the dust and cobwebs off it, it's one of those ones. So as long as, and I know this is a caveat you put in, as long as you say that those kits are full kits, not with some like bits missing off them, that you will be.
They haven't been started.
Yes, that you would be very, very interested in getting those kits. So there's actual kits. So there's nothing that you're going to have to go out and then source itself. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's obviously option. That's obviously option number one.
Yeah.
Now, option number two, and a way to let you know, if you haven't got a big kit and stuff, if we're going to go down the route that you're going to be someone who's got a pile of individual sprues, it's so-called grey pile of shame that we see banding about here, there, and everywhere, about how we could turn even just one of those sprues into something beneficial. Now, I introduced this idea in the beginning video when we were talking about this, and was saying that when we go and we might be selling bits and pieces off on platforms like eBay and stuff like that, if you actually read through and go towards the bottom of any listing that you can make, there is actually the potential to make a donation of the sale price to a charity.
That's right.
And because you guys are an actual registered charity, you guys are on that list of charities that people can choose from. Yeah. So it's whether you want to stock, even if it's one individual sprue that you might sell for £3 online or something like that. So that's a bit of ballpark figure out. Well, £3 is a cup of coffee to me. Maybe someone not a cup of coffee. Depends what your taste buds are like, etc., etc. And but that's, if we were to give that as a 100% donation to you guys as a charity, that's things like going out and getting paints, going out and getting glues, going out and getting tools, and everything else.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
With just that kit. Yeah.
The only thing we have to budget for to buy are tools and paints and glues and stuff like that. The actual kits we get are all done. The actual equipment we have to budget for, so that's where the cash donations that we get go towards funding.
Yeah. I mean, I don't suppose you might already have this on, and I might be already talking, but you don't have some kind of I know you can do it on Amazon where you've got like a wish list.
We do. Amazon. I believe we do. The man I'd need to talk to about that is Malcolm Childs, who's on holiday at the moment with his family. But I do believe we do have a wish list. And I don't know whether you've heard of Bearded Veteran Creates.
Well, I'm sure we're going to now, aren't we? Yes.
Yeah, Bearded Veteran Creates is a YouTuber He's also a M4H beneficiary, but he raised quite a bit of money in 2 weeks before Christmas on his YouTube to buy equipment, tools and equipment for Models for Heroes. So I do believe there is a wish list out there. I'll have to find it out for you and let you know.
Yeah.
But, I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is.
Yeah, I mean, it's because it's another way that if we didn't want to part with any kind of goods, if we are, I mean, I know I'm a guaranteed hoarder myself anyway, so to tear away from various bits and pieces and be able to part them is one of those that it's going to be a little bit problematic. But we just want to see if now because this is more or less 40 years of me being in this hobby, so I think a lot of it is maybe me being a little bit more, I don't know if selfish is the right words, but maybe it's a time for me to start and to think about giving something back to an industry and a community that's that I've enjoyed being a part of. And whichever little way I can do that is one of them ones. I mean, I've got no expectations at all that this is going to go and do. If we raise a tenner from doing this, I'd be happy.
I think if you go into something like this with no expectations, you're not going to get disappointed, are you?
Exactly.
We gladly accept, as you said, any kit as long as it's not started, and there are ways of donating financially as well if people want. And something else some people do, and it's I don't know whether I'm speaking out of turn here. It's slightly macabre, but we do have people who bequeath their stashes when they die. They have it in their will that their stashes go to Models for Heroes. So we even have people do that. So there's more than one way to skin this cat.
So there is one way. That's a bit one of those ones where we're taking it a bit too far, that we're we're raiding burial grounds and stuff like that for kids.
Yeah.
Have to go that way. I don't know, but
I mean, people have just got a kit, or have got, like you say, a sprue they want to sell on eBay. They want to give a quid or whatever, or 50p to Models for Heroes. I am sure there is a way to do it.
I mean, my idea is, that you'd be quite surprised, or maybe you wouldn't be a man in the community himself. You'd be quite surprised about the stuff that people sell on eBay in terms of modelling parts and bits and pieces for kits and stuff like that. Because there's always someone, and me as more of a converter kit basher, I know this. There's always, you're always looking for that one individual part that may be part of a sprue that to actually buy it outright, you'd have to buy a £40 or £50 model just to get one bit off it. Whereas you can go on eBay and find a sprue, and it might be only 50, 60 pence.
Yeah.
But it's got the bit I want and all the rest of it. But what do I then do with all the rest of it that's on it? All the rest of it is superfluous to me. So why don't I then turn around and try and move that on to someone else?
Your box of bits can only get so big, can't it, before it?
It's one of them ones. If we were to be honest about it, there was it's a lot towards the end of last year that I did pile everything in the box, take it to a local event, and just dumped me bits box on the table and just said, whoever wants to take stuff out of it, just take it. I don't want it anymore. Just get rid of it, kind of thing. So, but again, looking back now, whether that would have been, but I could have sold it all, I could have given the money away, and just wasn't thinking at the time. It wasn't one of those ideas.
Sometimes at the moment in time, isn't it? You just need the real estate back. You need the space.
Yeah, yeah,
So
sometimes, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, to clear the deck, so to speak, to allow you to see the projects that are there that are going to take your interest, rather than maybe slogging against something that's maybe not going to give
yeah,
you the positive benefits we all know this hobby can
yeah,
get. So so
absolutely.
Barry, it's been brilliant. Thanks for taking the time. Thanks for giving us a
It's a
brief
pleasure.
intro.
Sorry it took me so long to get here. As you know, I wasn't very well
So
for a
we,
couple of
we, we,
weeks.
we, we, we won't talk about internet gremlins or anything like that. We've managed to keep it to actually one take, actually talking. So that's a beneficial mode. Yes.
Brilliant,
So like I
brilliant,
say,
mate.
all the links and everything like that will go down in the links below the video, so everyone can come and find various bits. So I presume the website and the social medias will probably be the two most important, the most important
Yep.
places to go for people who wanted to find out
Yeah,
about you guys.
yeah.
I mean, how
It's
many?
Nero's website.
Yeah, I mean, I know you said you listed off about 3 or 4 in terms of the in-person meetings, but can you give us a rough ballpark figure about how many groups you've got nationwide? Do you know?
I would say there must be in excess of 50 groups face to face nationwide.
Yeah.
There is an interactive map on our website that actually shows where they all are. We have 100 volunteers and we have given out over 1,000 kits so far since we started. So we do touch quite a lot of people. The actual number of face-to-face sessions, I say the best thing to do is look on the interactive map, and it will tell you where that where the block. Click on the dot nearest to you, and then it will tell you where that session runs and who runs it and their contact details. So
Well, there you go then.
But,
There you go.
yeah,
Well,
modelsheroes.org.
there we go. There's the plug. There's the plug. That's the way to finish it. So again, mate, thanks very much for taking time, mate, this evening.
Pleasure.
Guys, hopefully you've taken a lot of background there from Gary, and I'm hoping again that, like we say, this is the first of the charities that we're going to try and help during this year, through the Grey Mountain campaign. So hopefully, there'll be other charities that we can introduce you to do similar work that Models for Heroes does. If you've got guys out there in the community, if you know of anybody who again can use donations of kits and all the rest of it for charity work or community work or anything that we can help about and support back through. And again, like I said, there is no pressure on anybody to do anything for this. This is just an idea, and hopefully an idea where a lot of people will go, I could spare a couple of pounds, I could spare this, I could spare that. Because at the end of the day, there are tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people within the communities all the way through modelling. If everybody worked out that everybody gives something of £1, you imagine how much good work that can go to through charities like Models for Heroes. So fair play to you guys, commend you on your work, and
thank you very much. It's a pleasure to do it. It really is, and it's great fun. Thank you for giving us the time to tell you what we do.
No problem, not a problem. So there we go. Mate, thanks for taking your time, mate. I know it's one of those ones, but like I said, I just wanted to get a little bit of an idea, a little bit of an overview for people who didn't really know what was going on, and then just to see where we could go with, and all the rest of it. So hopefully,
I hope you do very well, not just for us, but for other ideas. It's fantastic idea. It really is, and
well, like I say, I've got no things, no ideas, or that it's gonna, that I'm gonna raise hundreds of thousands of pounds and all the rest of it. But whatever we can do, and however small amount that we can do it to help out, then that's, you know, I'll take that one to win or every day of the week.
That's how Models for Heroes started, so you never know.
Well, there you go, mate. There you go. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, yeah, Gary, when you speak to Malcolm from me, thank him as well for organising and getting through, and say there is an open invitation to him as well if he ever wants to come on and have a little bit of a chat, if he's ever gets to get away from the kids for half an hour or whatever, you know what I mean? So yeah, love to see him.
He is much better at this than I am. I'll give him that.
No, you didn't do too badly, mate. You didn't do too badly. So well done. Brilliant stuff. Okay, then, buddy. I'll leave you to the rest of your weekend. So there we go. The work from Models for Heroes, helping those with PTSD and social anxiety disorders in the community to get back into community, to get back some of their old selves that they may be suffering from the aspects of these problems and these, you know, areas which they are suffering with. And hopefully you can see why we've chosen this group to be our inaugural beneficiaries of what we're going to be doing here at the channel in terms of the charities that we are going to support. Now, like I said in the video, there's one of two ways in which you can actually support the charity themselves. The first one is if you were to sell individual sprues and stuff like that on places like eBay and other social media, social marketplaces, etc., that the majority of them do have the ability for you to mark up towards the below the listing, the ability to donate some or all of the sale price to a charity of your choice. And there is a number of different charities, a myriad of different options from whom you can give to, all of which are registered charities with the UK government, so you can be confident that if you are giving the money to these people, that they are going to fund their charitable work. If you want to know some more about Models for Heroes, please just put their name into YouTube and you'll see a number of videos come up from various other aspects and various other people who have been out and visited them at their small little warehouse, who have talked to them, talked to the guys that they help, etc., etc. And you can see that it's a real eye-opening, a real beneficial way that we can use this modelling hobby. So that's option number one, using the donation of funds. And as we talked in the video, and as Gary pointed out, that goes towards more of the paraphernalia and the support bits, like things like brushes, like cutting tools, like paints, like glues, etc., etc. But the other aspect is obviously the kits. Now, I'm sure we would all have probably a model kit that's been languishing in that pile of opportunity, pile of shame, whichever way you come down on it, that's been hanging around for quite a while, that you, heart and hearts, will know that you're never going to get round to or never going to be putting off the shelf in the near future. So again, it's going to be languishing there for a number of years. I mean, I've got kits that have been through 2 house movements with me and still not seen the light of day, and basically all I've had to do is find new space for them in whatever property I move into afterwards. So if I haven't done them now, I don't think I'll be doing them anytime soon. But just to show the what I was thinking, or what I'm sort of, you know, willing to donate first, is that obviously with Christmas that has just gone, I was, you know, donated a number of the old Gundam Gunpla sets. You know, we all know that, so like, you know, towards the end of this year, there's been a bit of a massive sort of like rush on, you know, people's involvement in that sub genre of our hobby, and it's all been talking about how good the kits are, how easy they are to go together, etc., etc. So I thought, no, well, why can't you, easily combine those two together, give someone, a hobby kit who maybe hasn't hobbied for years, and give them probably an easier initial input into the hobby again to get their motor skills back working, etc., etc. So there's 3 boxes there, so 3 different kits. So that's going to be my initial pledge towards the Grey Mountain campaign for 2025. What I'm going to do is throughout the year, every quarter or so, or every time we've got an update for another charity, is I'll come again and probably share another thing about what I've donated and how I've done it, just to remind you guys out there about that it is an ongoing campaign for the year. We're not actually going to stick any kind of timeline on it, because we know that it's a case of you can give what you can give when you can give, and there shouldn't be any undue pressure put onto you guys to give stuff away that you're not confident we'll give it away now. But maybe in the future we'll have a different and a change of mind in terms of what we can do to help. It all comes down, I think, to this realization that no matter which side of the fence you fall on, whether it's the grey pile of shame or the grey mountain of opportunity, it's normally just a mass of plastic, and a mass of plastic that tends not to go up or down once it's reached a sort of critical mass within our hobby collection, that we just take bits from it to do projects, but naturally there are more bits added to it to counteract it, and it just stays in a little bit of a state of equilibrium moving forwards. So if you can, and if you want to, and I know, as we said in the video, there is no misconception about that we're going to raise X amount of pounds, etc., etc., etc. But every little bit will help these charities and help these groups to do the work that they can do. And every little helps. So thank you for watching. Thank you if you're going to be one of the guys who's going to be donating. Please, if you can, when you are making these donations yourself, please show them on social media. Please tag them with the tag link that we've got on the screen, and just make sure that you can spread the word as much as possible, even if you aren't donating yourself, because you never know what the next person in your hobby group might be able to donate and might be able to give away, and that might be the difference between someone who needs help getting it and someone who doesn't. Thanks guys for watching. Thanks for being part of the campaign, and thanks for your ongoing support from Dungeons to Starships. Again, please like and subscribe to the video to help the algorithm point us out to other people that may wanting to get involved in what we're doing here. And if you so feel like you could help a little bit more, there is always the Patreon that you can find linked in all the links that are down below this video. And there's going to be a myriad of links this time, because of obviously all the links we're going to be putting in for models for heroes as well. So thanks guys, and we'll see you in the next video.